9, 8.
You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey.
Hey, everyone. That was our new intro.
Yay!
You're watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Desmond.
And we are your hosts for this look into this week's comic books. And boy, there was quite the mish-mash magoogle of everything, let me tell you.
Mish-mash magoogle. I love it.
It was. Hello. Oh, my gosh. Mr. Lucky.
Yes.
I think.
And Twin Pack 24, we will let you know.
That was for Miss Jen.
Oh, that's Miss Jen. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh my God, Miss Jen. So what's in the box with Miss Jen is before us.
Yes.
And she had a whole box of lucky. Thank you. So she had a Comics Pro variants, and because Comics Pro was last week, and one of them was a Rob Liefeld foil cover for Thundercats, and I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to bid on it, or not bid, but buy it. Oh, hello.
Hello, Lorena. Hello, Mr. Towers. Thank you all for coming in and joining us. We were off last week. I was on vacation. I am back in sunny Bay Area. Right. Well, it's kind of rainy, but by Titan Tower. I don't know where that is in the Bay Area. It's supposed to be by the bay because down below or on this side is the Bay Bridge. However, I don't know how they got the zoning to put Titan Towers in there. Titan Tower. I mean, if it's maybe on Angel Island, I don't know.
Well, it'll probably be empty because every other building it seems is empty now in the city.
Yeah. And I'm sure Bruce Wayne, grease some hands.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Paul. Hi, Bar.
Yes, happy Leap Day, everybody, and all those people celebrating a birthday today. I'm sure you're like 7 years old now, because it all comes over 4 years.
So we have a giveaway today during our show, our first.
Yes, it's a thank you for the experience reaching 2,500 subscribers.
So it's gonna be Spider-Boy Volume 2, Number 3. It's a 1 in 100 Humberto Ramos variant, and it was donated by Dynamic Forces.
Thank you, Dynamic Forces.
And it's really easy. All you gotta do is use the hashtag EXPThanks, and you will be entered in to win. And we're going to be doing the drawing live on the show right before the end.
Yeah, thanks, Steve B's House of Collectibles. I mean, follow what Steve B's doing. Steve B, he knows what's up. They know what's up. So definitely, if you want this variant, please do it. They will ship it to you, and it's free. It's so we're gonna see how this goes, and then maybe we'll have some other giveaways for the Geek Chat coming up in the future. So,
oh my God, yes, she had some really good books on today's show.
Yes.
So I just want to get this out of the way. You're watching us on The Experience. Be sure to like, subscribe on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Head to Facebook, The Geek Chat. Give us a like and a follow. And head to comicshoppingexperience.com to see what's on, when's on, who's on every day of the week. The Experience has shows about comics, selling comics, talking comics. The Experience is all about comics. And Des and I love comics.
We do. We really love comics. Also, this giveaway, we will be announcing the winner at the end of the show. So please stay tuned. And hopefully you'll be able to win this awesome comic. But speaking of comics, let's get to not comics just yet. Our first section is always TVs, movies, and comic book news. And I know Rich wanted to talk about the latest Walking Dead, the ones who live. Now, I don't watch them. I never really got into The Walking Dead. I read the first volume. I bought it a long time ago. I'm still a huge Kirkman fan, but I just never I really like zombies were kind of passe for me at that point, so I never really got into them. But
we watched every episode. We survived the bad, the really bad, and the good ones, and all the spin-offs. So this is the third spin-off in the Walking Dead series. Fourth 4th series, I believe.
4th, wow.
Yeah. So Rick left the show many seasons ago, and Michonne went on her hunt to find her husband. And we finally get it. And it is a 6 or 8, miniseries. They don't do very many again. And yeah, so it opens with Rick trying to kill himself, and he hates this new place he's living. And this guy tries to recruit him to take down the city. And the first probably 25 minutes was boring as all can be. It was oh my god, just. And then Michonne shows up at the end, and we're like, they're reunited, and it ends.
So I would think
Recap.
he's trying to kill himself would add to the problem.
It was,
I mean-
and then the worst thing for me was spoilers. So on this show, if you're new to our show, we talk about spoilers for
We do
everything.
talk about spoilers. Yes.
He chops his hand off. I'm like, really?
Did his hand get bit or something?
No, he tried
just-
to get out of chains to
And he-
run away to escape. So he chops his hand off. So he's walking around with a prosthetic fist.
So he's like Ash from this is literally becoming Evil Dead, huh?
Well, other characters have lost their hands, like in
So they're Jedi.
Aaron, I think it was Aaron had a mace, a chain, or
Star
a
Wars.
spiky mace on it. Yeah, I was just like, really, why? So I'm watching it, and the Bad Batch started back up. So there's a lot of new shows out and Avatar. So Des and I are going to watch all the Avatars and review them on next week's show.
Okay, now this is going to be interesting because you're welcome, Lorena. So I please don't hate me for this and don't take away my geek card, but I've maybe seen like one episode of any of the Avatar stuff, so I know very little about
Good.
the franchise.
I
I know that
this.
it's about the kung fu and water bending and air bending, so I know the basic premise for it. So I'm interested to look at the TV series as an outsider.
That's good.
Thinking how this is, and not as someone who's like seeing how faithful it is an adaptation to the source material. So
Good.
That's what I am, because you watched the show.
I watched all of them. I read
Okay.
the books. I enjoyed the mythos of Avatar, except for that horrible movie.
I never saw it.
So bad. We made it 15 minutes in, and it was horrible.
You're just like, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I cannot wait to start. So next week, tune in and you'll hear what we think of the new Avatar series.
Oh, and I'm so glad, Lorena, that you do not mind spoilers, because we do talk about spoilers.
A lot.
So yeah. So the next thing that Rich wanted to talk about was, and this is interesting because Rich is a retailer, and I know some of the other people who are on the experience of retailers. But one of the things that just happened, and I read about it on Bleeding Cool, but it looks like DC is changing its street date of releases back to
Wednesday.
Wow.
So DC broke the chain during COVID. They were the first ones to separate from Diamond Comics. They changed their street date to Tuesdays. They changed FOC, which, if you know nothing about ordering comics, FOC is the last day that retailers can order comics. They changed it to Sundays. They messed everything up, like everything. And I know the retailers have been beating them up a lot in the retail boards and online, because why you got to be different? You've created two different structures. So people come in, yes, thank you, experience, final order cutoff, the FOC date. Why did you have to do this? It was ridiculous. So they've announced they're finally going back to Wednesdays, which is great news. But everything is broken, and a lot of retailers don't follow street dates. Because we get our books a week in advance sometimes. Like I got my DC for next week today. I'll be getting my Marvel for next week tomorrow. A lot of retailers, the bad ones, just put them out and sell them early.
Wow.
There is no more. Diamond used to have secret shoppers that would go into stores. They don't do that anymore. So now it's an honor system in the Wild Wild West, basically.
That's crazy, because and that was the thing. I thought maybe they were doing it in order to beat competitors to the market by having it come out on Tuesdays. Maybe that was why they were thinking about doing it. But if no one is leaving the house, so
that's just it. All the other publishers were coming out on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's always been the day.
So you would have to go if you are a dedicated Wednesday warrior and you want to get your DCs. You got to go on Tuesday, then go back on Wednesday. And who got time for that? No, I ain't got time
Yeah,
for
I mean,
that.
I just thought that was yeah, and the weird thing about it was I never really noticed this until you told me, and I was like, their comics come out on Tuesday,
Yep.
so even though, and I feel like I'm pretty like at least well versed in some comic book stuff, but I never really realized that they were coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I wasn't really buying that many DC books.
Well, we are going to be having an all Marvel show today. We don't hate DC by any means. They're just not putting out a lot of new books now, and we like to
Yeah.
review number ones.
And I do know that their Dawn of DC initiative is ending, and they're going to be moving into like their next phase.
Yeah.
And they like to their credit, they did keep um their books going that had a good run. Green Arrow was one of them. They had a pretty good run, so they kept producing those. We got 3 new books in Sandman, Jay Garrick, Flash, and Green Lantern.
Well, they were all
Alex
miniseries.
I know, but they seem to be still going. So I don't know if they're going to continue on or not. Probably not. But I do think that they really, at least for the Dawn of DC, tried to put it back to some semblance of what they were doing. So for that, I give DC credit, and I'm really interested to see what this new DC Comics reality is, because remember, we still don't have a Justice League. We have the Teen Titans, so maybe we will start to see that. Or
So you haven't been keeping up. Amanda Waller has just
Yeah.
yeah.
I know
Our
that
Lord,
much.
Green Arrow was made into an ongoing, and I love what's going on. This week's issue was fantastic. He went up against Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is now in the Hall of Order. They've changed it from the Hall of Justice to the Hall of Order, and Peacemaker is her guard.
Her lapdog.
Her lapdog, yes. It's interesting. And then this new initiative for Free Comic Book Day
Yeah,
and
I'm looking
going
forward to it.
on. Yeah. So we will be doing some DC, but
Not
this week it is all Marvel. And why don't we get to our first one?
Yeah. So our first one was
Oh, hey Kenneth, by the way.
Yeah, hi Kenneth.
So just so you know, Kenneth, we are doing a giveaway today, and everyone else that just joined, it is for Spider-Boy Volume 2, Number 3, the 1 in 100 Humberto Ramos variant. Post hashtag EXP thanks to enter, and we will be drawing it at the end of the show.
Yes. So please, everyone, enter in. This is our way of saying thank you for helping us reach to 2,500 likes and followers. So please, thank you so much. But for our first number 1 of the week is Spider-Punk number 1. This is actually the second Spider-Punk miniseries, and this is called Arms Race. So the one that I got, I just had to buy it, is the you know which one I got.
Claypole.
Oh yeah. Oh
yep,
yeah.
I had to get Claypole too.
Beautiful cover. Beautiful cover. So as always, we always go through who did what and what did who. So this is the writer was Charming Cody Ziegler. The artist was Joyful Justin Mason. Color artist was Mighty Maury Hollowell. And the letter was VC's Thunderous Travis Lanham.
Yep.
There was a ton of covers for this.
Yep.
Like, which is great. You know, more covers. Fantastic. So overall, I did not read the first Spider-Punk miniseries. I didn't.
Neither did I. This is my first venture into Spider-Punk.
So, but I know about him. I know about him from I read all about him in the Amazing Spider-Man, the Web Warriors and the Webverse, the Spider-Verse, and all that other stuff. So I know about the character, but this is the first time that I'm coming into his reality. And by reality, I mean his alternate Earth, because the cool thing about this is it's like it's that old X-Men. We're getting like what is it? We're getting like all these different realities. So this is Earth 738. And it's Hobie Brown, who is in the normal 616 Prowler. And so in this one, they are Spider-Punk. And I have to tell you, I am a fan of alt stories. I was a huge fan of Elseworlds, where you have existing characters and you put them in a whole new world or a whole new change that is familiar, but but different just enough to make it interesting. And this, to me, kind of read like, because you have I want to say it kind of read like Spider Gwen a little bit, in that you have in Spider Gwen, if you remember Spider Gwen, she was part of a band as well. You know, Hobie is part of a band, and
But
you
here the
know
band's all heroes.
they're it's
Ms.
Kamala
Marvel,
Khan, Ms. Marvel, Matea Murdoch, which is a female
Daredevil.
Daredevil, and then you have Riri Williams as Riot Heart, and you have Carl Morning Dew as Captain Anarchy. So again, you have differences than the other, are the 616 counterparts, which is to be expected. But then they go up against the first pages. They go up against these lizards that are the Lizard, Stegron, and
Sauron.
Sauron, and they're like gangsters. And it was funny because they were kind of like in like ska outfits, so it's got this weird sort of like punk aesthetic from like the 80s, late 70s sort of like punk look. And I really like the artwork that was being captured by it. It looks kind of gritty, but in some ways it looks really cool, and it captures the vibrant nature of the story. And they're fighting, a Dr. Octopus and Hammer, as Hammer's trying to create these, things, that these monsters with their robot tentacles for faces that can fight Spider-Punk and his band. And then you have T'Challa and
Shuri
as co-Black Panthers. And it was funny. I was reading in a comment page, they were talking about how having it be like co-Black Panthers on a business card doesn't really look that impressive. Because you have Shuri, who does all the research and design, and you have T'Challa, who's looking kind of gray, who's looking older, doing like their benefactor. And I guess this was all stuff that happened in the last one. So, and how they set all that up. So I don't know. Overall, I thought it was a fun story. It didn't really break any new ground. I mean, again, you're telling an alt tale story with existing characters that have been altered. That's what we're gonna say. They've been altered, and
you're gonna try to make that fetch.
I'm gonna try to make it fetch. Yes,
okay.
They've been altered, and I always struggle with comics because I think like, why was this made? Like, who is this for?
That's exactly what I thought. Why?
Like, who is this for? And I'm thinking, and of course, it's for people who really enjoyed Spider-Punk.
Right. I get it.
He's a well-loved character in the Spider-Man community. He was really fleshed out in Across the Spider-Verse. He was really fleshed out a little bit more in the whole Spider-Verse comic book movement. So yeah, I'm okay with it. Plus, he's a a POC, a person of color, so that's always good, in my opinion. And to have him, fight difference because he's like a black guy who's a punk rocker, that kind of bucks the trend as well a little bit. So I don't know. I think Spider-Punk serves a purpose to show, alternate versions of a Spider-Man, and I think that's fine. I think it's fine. It's a solid story. If you were to skip it, your life would not be any different. There's nothing really groundbreaking about it.
I made it 3 pages in, and I'm like, I skimmed the rest.
Really?
I did not care for this book at all.
Really? I thought you would have liked. I thought you would have at least liked the artwork. I thought the artwork was really fetching in some spots.
It was rough in some spots, and it was fleshed out in other spots. But I'm reading this, and I'm like, okay, there's Spider-Gwen. We've got Spider-Man 2099, which Peter David is coming on to write the next one, so I can't wait for that.
We have Superior Spider-Man.
We've got Spider-Boy. I mean, there's a Spider book for everybody.
We had Spider-Man India. So
And
yeah,
I'm like,
there's
this book was just not for me. I was not the I just wasn't feeling this.
we're getting a lot of like those cross color sort of Benetton,
I really didn't like
Spider-Man.
I really disliked the lettering as well. I did not like the
Why was
red
yeah,
letters
I
mixed
didn't
with the black letters. I did like I
yeah.
thought maybe an emphasis on a word like you jerk, like, and you make the jerk red. But
It was everywhere.
it was everywhere. So it took out whatever it was. I did not understand that. I don't know. This book was a solid like D.
I'm not gonna do it that harsh. I definitely. It's one of those. It's one of these. It's one of these books that I look at and I think, okay, this is definitely gonna be. This is definitely trade fodder. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Um, and it'll probably read really well as a trade when you can just sit down
Sit and read the whole thing.
and sit up exactly and just digest it, and that's fine. Not everything needs to be a series, and I think for them going out there and putting it out there is great. And I think that's just where it needs to be. It needs to fall. It needs to just lie solely in the great. It's out there. I'll pick it up on a sale at a con or something for like 20% off, and I'll enjoy it when I read it. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and another number one we're going to be doing now is part of Marvel's new initiative of Giant Size. So we have Giant Size Fantastic Four. Now we reviewed Giant Size. What was the last one we reviewed?
It's been a while. I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I
That's
love
memorable it was.
I just love the term giant size. I think that's just so silly. And like of course the giant size man thing and all that, but it's just I think every now and then they have to put the word giant size on it in order
for
to like
trademark.
keep that as a trademark. Same thing with like with like
everything,
annual
New
Mutants. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just funny to me because like I see this and I'm like, what's the difference between this and an annual?
Exactly. Oh, well, this has the difference is all the Giant Size have the bonus book in the back, which they can charge
an extra like $2,
$7, so that you get something from 1960 something.
Yeah, I didn't read that.
You didn't read it?
No, I didn't read it.
I liked it. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. I was like, okay.
I mean, I know it. I've read it before, but I'm just like, okay, that was nice. That's like a nice little thing, to kind of like harken back that kind of what is it? That kind of connects
nostalgia?
to the main story.
Oh.
And it's kind of nostalgia. So in this one, we get the Imperious Rex, the person, the original Namor,
So it is written by Fabian Nicieza. I remember. Thank you, JD.
Yeah, thank you, JD.
Creasley was the artist. Arif Prianto was the color artist. And VC's Joe Caramagna was the letterer. And Brian Hitch did that cover. And it's nice to see Brian Hitch doing covers.
Yeah. One thing that took me right out of it immediately was and this is I know this is an all ages show, but I'm just gonna say it. Johnny Storm's porn stash took me right out of it. I was gonna
say something about that too. I don't read the main book. Does he have this horrible mustache in the main book? That's my question.
It just took me out of it. I was like, whoa, Johnny, just slow down, just simmer down, partner. There's a reason why I don't read Fantastic Four, and I don't know what it is, but unless sometimes it can be really boring, and I don't know. It's the family dynamic. I think some people can get it really well, and some people just don't. And I just felt that this was kind of a boring read. You have this. It was all set up. They're setting up a new Namor type guy. I don't know if he's a villain or not, because at the end of the story, he was told to be a unifier of the Atlian races.
But so he said he'll do it by force
if necessary, but that's always what Namor said too. So it just seems like all these Atlanteans or Namorians or whatever always are just insufferable people, and it's like, why do you have to be mean all the time? So
why is Namor in jail?
I don't know.
Anyone know? Does anyone know that is watching us know why Namer's in jail? I thought I was very knowledgeable about the Marvel Universe, but I'm like, why is he in jail?
He probably did something he wasn't supposed to do. He was all Imperious Rexing on people and got... Anyway, so Stingray was back.
Wrong.
Stingray was back, and that was great.
It was nice to see Stingray.
Although, I guess the last time we saw him, he was being torn apart by sharks. So people were kind of like, huh? How is he back? So I guess you get better. It's comics. You get better. So, I don't know. Again, this is in order to tell future stories. So you create a bad guy, you give him a little bit of a backstory, you kind of make him a sympathetic character as he was wrongfully imprisoned because he was trying to unify the nations. So even though he had good intentions, the way he did it was bad, and so you have this character now that is kind of a moral gray area, and I think that's the basis of all that could be the basis for all really good characters. That's Victor Von Doom, that's Galactus, that's all these other people. So that's what I mean. I felt that this book was very by the numbers. And again, that's not bad, but
it just didn't make for an enjoyable read.
Exactly. It made for a very boring read, and I don't know. There's something about the Fantastic Four that there's just certain runs that are just really, really good, and everything is firing on all cylinders, and you're getting that family dynamic, and it's just working, and they're meeting really interesting villains and stuff. But and this one in a capsule just didn't really hit it for me. It just didn't really hit it for me. So
yeah, the only reason I read it was because we were going to review it, and reading it felt like homework. I got to be honest. When a comic book feels like you are having to read it and you're not getting any joy out of it, I'm like,
And I think exactly I think that's the main point, because I was looking at it as a way of maybe I can jump back into the Fantastic Four, because there have been runs that I've absolutely adored. John Byrne's run. There was a run that was done by I want to say Kevin Busick and Wendigo. They I can't remember his name. Who passed away. Mike
Marengo.
Yeah, Marengo. Thank you. Really great stuff. And the Carlos Pacheco run, like all this stuff is really good, but you kind of have to really know what you're doing with it. And I was really hopeful that this would be a way to kind of jump back into it. And unfortunately, it's just not. So I'll wait till we get into number one. So,
but if you are a fan of Fantastic Four and you want to know what's going to be happening in a future story, this is the place to pick up to find out about Nutar or Nutar. I don't understand how to say his name, but
yeah,
Nutter.
I thought it was like Nautilus, like Nautil something other.
Nutter. I don't know.
Something.
But it is time for our first commercial break.
Yeah, so we'll be right back after these couple of messages. See you in a minute.
Bye.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
By this time in our journey, we had been on the trail of a very elusive creature for about 96 hours. But all the hard work is about to pay off. Oh, crikey, there she is. Oh, by the markings, I'd say this one's at least a 9.8. Oh, she's a real beauty. A true mint copy. Oh, this one will make a fine slab on anyone's display wall. Oh, she's a feisty one, though. Look out, look out!
Mint Hunter Comics is the place to find that mint comic you've been searching for. Mint Hunter Comics, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, part of the experience.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Hi.
Hey,
We're back.
We're back already.
We are.
You are watching the Geek Chat. I was just reading. I'm sorry.
I know,
came on.
it's a much shorter intro than it was before.
I
love it. Thank you.
I was just seeing James Gunn has said that Superman Legacy has started filming. I was reading about it. I was like, cool.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
There's been a couple of cast pictures too, and what was really cool was there was a one on the top and it had all the pictures of the people and they were hugging each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And the one underneath it had all of them. It was someone who'd drawn over it and put them all in costume. So it was great. And one thing that I didn't realize, which I thought was fantastic, is that the actor who played Darwin in First Class is playing Mr. Terrific.
Cool.
So someone wrote in the comments, which I thought was hilarious, was that Darwin didn't die. He just evolved into a better series, into a better universe, a better comic universe. And I was like, oh, I get it.
That's good. So you are watching the Geek Chat on the Experience. Be sure to head to comicshoppingexperience.com. You can see all of what's going on in the Experience, all the different shows. And I just want to remind everyone of the Thursday lineup. It starts at 8 a.m., 11 a.m. on the West Coast. It's a new show, Jam Comics with their vintage comics. And then we have the Dan Wickline Show at 2 Pacific. What's in the Box with Miss Jen at 3 Pacific. Us, the Geek Chat, on at 5 Pacific. And then Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. They follow us at 7 o'clock Pacific. Yes, the East Coast, but you know what? We're on the West Coast. It's just how it is.
Oh, also, if you're new or just came in, we are doing a giveaway. It's the experience saying thank you to helping us get to 2,500 subscribers. And how you enter is a hashtag EXP thanks. And when you if you win, you'll be winning a Spider Boy
number 3.
Number 3. It's the Herberto Ramos 1 in 100 variant cover. So we want to say thank you. Please, if you haven't already, hashtag EXP thanks in the comment section, and hopefully you'll win. We will be drawing at the end of the show.
So Bartlord says the name's just changed to Superman,
which is great.
Yeah, because I didn't understand the whole legacy thing.
No, I mean, exactly. It's like, why is it legacy? Like,
it's just starting.
Yeah, like, what are we coming from?
And Lorena, yes, it is my zombie.
Staying alive.
Staying alive, yes. I was a little zombie today. I was just in the mood for. I originally had an X-Men shirt, and I was like, I'm in the mood for this.
Yeah, and I paused my game to be here, so.
And that is actually probably true.
So okay, so we're gonna continue in. We're gonna continue, and our next section is we're gonna talk about the event that just ended. At least I think it ended.
Yes.
Gang War.
There's one left.
Well, yeah, it's Spider. It's the last one is Daredevil. Yeah, but first we're going to talk about the last couple of issues that came out, and then we're going to talk about like it all overall, because Amazing Spider-Man number 44 was the one that ended the whole thing. So now it's technically done, but there was a scheduling snafu, and one came out when it was supposed to. So you know how Marvel is. Anyway, Spider-Woman. You can go ahead and do the folks, the credits.
So Steve Fox was the writer. Carola Borelli was the artist. Arif Prianto was the colorist. VC's Joe Sabino did the lettering, and that cover was done by Lionel Francis Yu and Sonny Go.
I got this one.
Oh my God, it's Julia.
Yeah, and I thought this was really kind of cool. Like I saw this and I was like, she never got enough love, but she's
No.
Madam Web now. So,
Yeah.
so out
This
of
finishes the mini series, which I don't know if we're gonna get to 7.
I think we will.
You do?
I mean, there were two comics out of all of the gang war tie-ins, out of all the gang war comics, all that made me smile, and it was this one
And Daredevil.
and Daredevil. These two were my favorites. This one particularly because I liked this idea that her son was taken, spoiler alert, was taken by Madam Hydra, and aged up and was used against her. So now she has a teenage / adult son who now has augmented powers and is able to do the pheromones and has the electric blasts, and he's been brainwashed by Hydra. And so he is the one that was working with Diamondback, and she's like, no, it's my baby. And so now she has to try to like work through that. And I am left wondering, how are they going to rectify this now? And I'm thinking, is he actually not her son, but a clone of her son, and her son's still a baby, and they're just making all these clones off of the baby?
That'd be cool.
Or is it really, her son that has been aged up? So these are the kind of ramifications that I like seeing in a comic book. Like, what is the long-term effects of this? Like these 4 issues, even though it was tied to gang war, and she did fight Diamondback at the end, and they had a pretty fierce battle. The story moved in a way that was, for me, entertaining and kept me as a reader wanting to see what happened. Granted, I am invested in Spider-Woman as a character, so maybe my glasses were a little frosty, but by that I mean, okay to skip certain details, but I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was fun. Your thoughts?
So I really congrats to Wavy for winning the 1 in 1,000 McFarlane. Good Lord, that's awesome.
That is pretty cool.
I wish the cover had put her son on, so that the final cover was her against her son.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the fact that Madam Web called in friends, and I liked that Jessica really didn't want her friends there. And the fact that Captain Marvel was the reason why her son escaped, and that hug at the end was kind of like not a hug, but you could tell it was on her mind.
Yeah, it's like, I need you.
I loved the ending. I have enjoyed the story. I've been a Spider-Woman fan for a very long time. Yeah, I have been, and I love this costume. I am not a fan of children, so I don't like the fact she has a kid. But
I like what they did with it.
I do. I like what they did with it. What happened to D-Man? Do we have any clue? Like,
he's going through withdrawals. You saw him start to shrink back down.
Oh, it's just weird.
Yeah,
I liked this. I really liked this artist a lot.
Yeah.
I love the way that they draw Spider-Woman. I had no clue who the woman in pink was that helped at the end. That is where I miss one little text box of a name.
Yeah.
Nowhere in this book does it say who it is. They never even say her name.
Yeah, she was mentioned in the last I think she might have been mentioned in the last series. So but I can't remember, to be completely frank with you. I can't remember.
I don't know. But I like
that Julia actually helped out.
Yeah.
She webbed people up. She used her actual powers, not her precog stuff. I thought that was really cool to see her. So I really hope that there's more, I don't want to say girl power type stuff, but I really hope that there's a little bit more
Spider Women,
or And it's funny. I actually like Captain Marvel's portrayal in this. She works so much better as a supporting character. There's something about her that just doesn't scream, front and center. But as a supporting character, I think she just really works. With another, like, I think if they team her up, Captain Marvel with someone else, maybe.
Hey,
Hi,
me
Make
too.
Two. Wait, welcome in.
You know what's funny is I agree with that. She made an appearance in She-Hulk with Patsy Walker and her, and I really enjoyed her in that.
Yep.
I read her main book only because they made Binary a person,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to read that. So I read that arc, and then we reviewed the number 1, and I just was not into it. So I have not been reading it at all. But yes, I do agree. I think she makes a great supporting character.
Yep. But yeah, really good series. Thought it was fun. Let's do this. Next one, complete opposite. Ugh, it was rough.
It was not. I liked your idea better for the mayor who has a superpower, what he would do in an event of a gang war, and I think the writer completely went in the opposite direction, trying to make a Heroes for Hire book that did not work. Smythe was such a throwaway villain. he
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like, why did you pick this villain if
he's
he
tech?
Didn't do anything?
It was tech. They needed this. Like, I get the reason they needed this tech in order to go up against Luke Cage and his people, but yeah, it really seemed like a Heroes for Hire type of book.
So Rodney Barnes was the writer, Ramon F. Box was the artist, Andrew Dahlhaus was the colorist, VC's Travis Lanham was the letterer, and that main cover that you have there was by Kanan White. I got the variant cover, which was done by the artist, the Daredevil artist.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, I
that
love
costume
this
is still
person.
terrible though. Ooh.
What?
That costume is terrible.
Oh,
I'm so
God,
glad he
yeah.
wasn't in it. He wasn't in it in this issue, but that costume is terrible.
Yeah, he was in it. Oh no, he was in his new weird
Air stuff.
armor thing. I just want to say I enjoyed seeing Cloak and Dagger. I want to give some positives. Cloak and Dagger was in it. They didn't do much.
Mhm. The no vigilante rule has been turned over. They go a little bit more into that in Amazing Spider-Man 44. But yeah, this was just like that really horrible movie. What was it? The Hugh Jackman one where they're fighting robots, back and forth and stuff. That's really what it was. It was just them fighting robots. And it was really sad was you have Luke Cage, who has indestructible skin, in a mech fighting other robots, yet everyone else who is like not in any mechs are fighting them too. And it's like, I guess they're fighting the foot soldiers. But all in all, it was a big just fight scene is really what it was. And like the cops and I didn't like the banter. I thought the banter was really kind of forced. And like the beginning with that little 1-page recap, it's like we didn't need to have that recap of him being turned into Luke Cage and being a hoodlum and having Danny being saved by Danny and now becoming mayor. It's like we didn't need that recap. And I don't know. I really it's funny. I really would have liked more of him fighting maybe a corrupt official or something, and have it being more tied to him trying to
protect his city.
Yeah, and overturn the
But I mean,
the
who wants
the
to
non-vigilante.
Who wants to read about a bunch of talking heads trying to
No,
overturn a law?
But not even talking heads. I think this would have been a much better story had he fought possibly like the Kingpin, because the Kingpin was the one that actually initiated that in order to fight Matt Murdock and to stop him doing his stuff, or maybe people who were really for keeping the masks at bay.
Yeah.
This one really just seemed like we gotta have something for Luke Cage to do. This is what we're gonna do. And the
But
story just made no sense.
it
Made no
did
sense at
make me
all.
very hopeful that we get another Heroes for Hire book with this, maybe a couple extra people, but like
But
I
not with
know
this
that.
team. Not with this writer and artist.
Oh
Like
God, no, not with this writer and artist. No.
no,
I'm sorry,
the
no. I'm
art
sorry
was
to the writer and the artist, but no.
they were not good. Like this whole book, all four issues were not good. It just didn't. It's not that it didn't make sense in the larger narrative, but man, the experience says I wish they would do something more with Cloak and Dagger than just have Cloak be the Marvel Comics universe's instant translation. Yeah,
So
I
in
agree.
First Blood, is it called First Blood, First Bite, whatever the
Or
new
Blood Hunt.
Blood Hunt, whatever that is? Yeah. One of the teams is Dagger without Cloak because something has happened to him. So
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Maybe they're using him as a portal like they did like on that last thing they had. Remember when Hydra Cap took over and they were hiding out and they needed. Anyway, that's another story. But I know I'm kind of wanting to.
Hey, BBB Hardcore Comics, welcome in.
Yeah, and thanks for signing up for the giveaway. I'm looking forward to seeing what. At first, I wasn't looking. I know we're going to switch topics just a little bit. I wasn't looking forward to Blood Hunt, but now I kind of am. Number one, Pepe Larraza, fantastic artist. But vampires, they're just as bad as zombies in some instances. And we just got over having DC having all their vampires, so it's kind of like, and having this. And I guess maybe I'm old school. Doctor Strange already eradicated all the vampires and never really said how they came back. Dracula or Doctor Strange did it back in the 80s or late 70s, early 80s. He cast a spell, killed them all. Dracula died, boom. But now he's back. So I'm just kind of like, okay. So hopefully this will talk about that. I doubt it. But it's a Blade focused event. So I think that's really kind of cool, giving a secondary character like Blade his due. Granted, I think that this was all done before the Blade movie was pushed back till next year, because if you notice, the Blade movie would have been coming out at the time this arc was starting. So
I have to agree with Barlord. I'm really gonna try going into it. A Blood Hunt I'm talking about, but yeah, Gang War was pretty good, but I watched the trailer on YouTube for Blood Hunt.
That got me kind of hyped.
It did me too.
Got me kind of hyped.
There's 900 freaking crossover books.
So annoying.
Oh my God. I'm like, so I talk about this. I have a friend, Don, and he also is excited because he loves Pepe Larraz's art. So he's going to read. He's like, I wasn't planning on reading it, but I'm going to read the main book. And then whatever, like he reads Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange, I think, has like one crossover book.
Yeah.
So Gang War was centralized in New York City, right? We just have the Sentinels supposed to be, because of Orcus, in New York City.
Yes.
But in Gang War, we never saw any Sentinels.
No.
So now here come the vampires. So here's going to be my issue. Will the vampires be seen in any other books or just the tie-ins?
Just the tie-ins.
Just the tie-ins. Oh, I knew I was going to answer my own question. But this is, again, how the Marvel Universe differs from 20, 30 years ago. Because you used to have things happen, the Mutant Massacre, and it did go into other books, but you had it still happening, like with Apocalypse's ship when it settled down in
you saw it.
I think it was the East River.
Yeah, you saw it in other
books.
In other books.
Yeah. So let's go into our final piece for this segment, Amazing Spider-Man 44. And it is the final battle between Madam Mask, the Beetle, and the heroes with Spider-Man. I don't know about that. That look, you were not happy with the ending.
Okay, let's who did the book?
All right, let's get this over with. Oh, hold on. Why am I doing all the reading? Zeb Wells, your favorite writer, did the writing. John Romita Jr. did the penciling. Scott Hanna was the inker. Marcio Menez was the colorist, and VC's Joe Caramagna did the lettering, with a cover by John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna, and Marcio Menez, and
Okay.
a whole bunch more variants.
That cover, fantastic. One of the best covers I've seen in a very long time. His reflection in her mask, just great. And just to say, Bar Lord, you completely skipped Gang War. You didn't miss much. And that's sad. That's sad because they had
Some really
the
good points in it.
they had some really good thoughts, but after reading how it ended, it really became status quo again. And I think that's the sad thing about it. It basically Tombstone won. So that was the thing. He it wasn't that he was playing Spider-Man. He just worked with Spider-Man because he knew that he could trust Spider-Man to be Spider-Man. So in that aspect, I thought, okay, smart villain, did what we needed to do in order to he backed the right horse, because it seemed like behind a mask, all she wanted was chaos and to bring them all down and then rise up as the queen. So she just went a little too much overboard in what she was doing. And it seemed like all Spider-Man did in this whole thing, was just put out fires. He was literally it almost felt like Indiana Jones in the first movie. That's what it felt like. If Spider-Man had been taken out of this, everything would have happened the way it was supposed to happen. And that's what's sad about the whole situation. All Spider-Man did at the end of the day was web up Madame Mask's gun, and then she blew herself up. And I was like, that's it. And then Tombstone, has an estranged daughter that he quote unquote sent a message to because he was trying to save her to not have her be in the life.
And now she's gone.
So we have no idea what's going on with her.
What a waste of a costume too. That demon beetle costume
that black
they
beetle
did
thing that she was wearing.
And then it went nowhere. She was taken out. The ending was quite the bait and switch when it came to
very anticlimactic.
Yeah. I don't understand the whole. I don't know. I was enjoying this. I think it went on a month too long, to be honest. And yes, Barlord, it was street level heroes. It was about, it was completely about Spider-Man and his amazing friends trying to save the city.
Good about it. That's what was so good about it, because we keep being inundated with so many multi-universal dimensional threats. That way, to have street level villains dealing with their own stuff felt so good for me anyway. And I was just like, yeah, like we could honestly have something happen to this, I was hoping for more from Marvel, shame on me, but I was hoping that we would get like sort of like this New York style gangland era that we could have really been cool with, like sort of like DNA's their galactic, their cosmic era with Guardians of the Galaxy and all the stuff like that. Like that was fantastic and spawned multiple books from this like one little idea. And I thought Gang War could be that idea. We get like the new Daredevil Electra, we get this and that, and this is like the opening salvo that would have basically did this really cool street level down and gritty sort of storytelling. And because I'm sorry, I'm tired of Daredevil constantly questioning his religion all the time. It's like,
don't read the new series then.
No, I can't. I had to basically step away from Daredevil, and that's why Elektra as Daredevil was such a breath of fresh air. And that's why I can't wait to read the final of her book and hope that I was hoping for more. And I was hoping that I was getting it because it started off so strong. Save Luke Cage. That was a joke from the jump, but it just didn't work. And it basically went back to status quo. And I really like this current Spider-Man era right now. This current volume, it's all volumes. I can't wait for it to end. Like, and we get a new writer, we get a new team, we get a new idea or something.
So it's funny. Barlord says about Marvel Universe being aimless, and I I've been reading Marvel Universe for a very, 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 very long time. And I have to say, I kind of agree with that because we have so many small events. Blood Hunt is supposed to be a Marvel-wide event, but we've got all the little things. You've got the X world over here. I don't know what's going on in Thor. I have zero clue what's going on in Thor. Coog reads Thor. You've got you're celebrating. So like Scarlet Witch was turned into Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for their anniversary, and then it's going back to Scarlet Witch. I do feel like they are just putting out small little individuals so that if you like a character, you can read that character and don't have to worry about what's going on anywhere else. And I think when they did, so my idea that I think they're trying to do is we're going to do Gang War.
Mhm.
It's a Spider-Man centric book, so it's not going to get a standalone Gang War #1 because Blood Hunt is going to have Blood Hunt, the main series, and then you can read. Whereas Gang War was Spider-Man, and then we're going to give you a dozen other books that tie in. So what we know that in July, the X World is rebooting, and in we didn't review it because I can't stand them. The Marvel Voices Women book came out, and I wasn't even going to suggest it because there were like 4 stories, and it was the same usual Drek that you see.
Not women. He just can't stand those voices things.
Oh my God! Yeah. No, I don't want to get canceled again this week.
Those voices.
I don't enjoy the Marvel Voices books as a whole because they. Yep, again, I'm canceled again.
I love that stamp.
In the Marvel Voices, there is this person that's taking all the women out of Marvel, and they go through what's going to happen in the future, and we see 2 books, 2 separate what could be X books. One's led by Kitty, one led by Rogue or such, and then you see Storm becoming a politician. It was the weirdest thing, but
I don't know.
I'm
sorry. It's just the weirdest kind of like I was like, okay, Kitty running a team. She's done it. That's awesome. Rogue running a team. She did it. That's awesome. Storm as a politician?
Yeah, something like that.
So beneath her station. Oh my God.
Yes, Lorena, I do. Every time we review one of the Marvel Voices books, I'm the one that's like, why? Like they make no sense. The last one we did had some of the worst stories in it that made no sense it was supposed to be celebrating Black History Month, and we got Colleen Wing. Why? I don't know.
Mixed. We claim her.
We
claim her. What was it? We claim her because of Misty Knight.
Okay.
So anyway, it's time for her commercial. Yes, Preston. Yes, Storm is the Queen of Mars, so why not a politician? That is true.
He can do everything now.
So anyway, we need to take another commercial.
Reborn.
We need to take a commercial break. Stay tuned because we're going to talk about our favorites, the X-Men, and we got some stuff to talk about. So we'll be right back. See you in a minute.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales. Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. and sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
And I just want to give a shout out. Those images that you saw in our new intro were drawn by Gene Gilmet. He's a great artist. And I'm blanking on his...
RLT Press.
There you go. Thank you.
You can go check out his stuff at RLT Press. He's also a contributing artist to The Line is Drawn at CBR, or Comic Book Resources. So definitely check his stuff out. He's been a longtime friend, fantastic creator.
Yeah.
Go check his stuff out.
Yep. What?
Also, you.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Oh no, I was just gonna pimp out the experience. Thanks, but we'll do that after what you're gonna say.
I was going to say that following us at 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock if you're on the East Coast, is Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. And their guest host today is going to be Christy Shin. And they have guests Stephen Yu, Philip Jin, and Dave Law. And they're also going to have some giveaways on their show. So stay tuned after us for Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. Yes. And head to comicshoppingexperience.com. Sign up for the mailing list. And as always, you can see what's on, who's on, all the shows. There's always something going on The Experience. So,
and definitely Asian Invasion. Their name, not mine. So, hey, they can say it. So, also want to say, hashtag Experience EXP thanks. We're still running that giveaway. We will be doing that drawing at the end of the show. You can win a Spider-Boy #3 variant by God, I just said his name, Humberto Ramos. It's a 1 in 100 cover. So it's, again, the Experience's way of saying thank you for helping us get over 2,500 followers.
Yeah,
so
tell all your friends about us as well.
Yeah, so I also want to thank everyone who's been like messaging and contributing in this conversation tonight.
Yes, I'm really enjoying it.
It's really been fun. So thank you. Bring your friends in. We try to have a good time. Speaking of good times, which some people are not having, and that would be the X-Men. We are still talking. Yes, we are on the West Coast. Yes. We were on the West Coast. Don't hate us because of that. So anyway, yeah,
I'm from the East Coast.
Adjacent, but anyway,
New York is completely East Coast.
It is completely East Coast, right? Anyway, Rise of the Powers of X #2. That's what we're going to talk about. Yeah, that's the cover. And a lot of this was talking heads, and that's fine because, heads got to talk, stories got to move, and that's what happened. They're still worried about Enigma. They're still thinking about, welcome from the East Coast. So we're just talking about, hey, they're talking about we got to kill Moria. Moria McTaggart, whatever her name is. They got to kill her, and they're trying to decide. And I don't know about y'all, but it's like every issue they release, I get more and more confused.
So let's get this over with. The writer was Kieran Gillen, R.B. Silva, amazing artist.
Fantastic.
David Curiel, color artist. VC's Clayton Cowles was the letterer, and that cover was RB Silva and David Curiel.
Thank you, Experience, for posting Gene Kilmet's
Yes, thank you.
Instagram and
Check his stuff out. He does a line of coloring books for
Yeah.
monsters. It's really cute. And
Morning Monsters. It's really
yeah.
fun. So yeah, looks like, what I will say that I thought was really kind of cool was this book, Dead X-Men, and the Fall of the House of X. Those 3 books are really the books you should be reading if you want to know what's going on with the main story, because this book references a lot of what happens in Dead X-Men number 2 and number 1. So if you want to keep up, those are the books that you really kind of read. Everything else at this point seems to be kind of ancillary for a while, unless they're going to pop up later in the story. I think we have 3 more issues, because there's 5 issues. So there's 3 more issues of this one, 3 more issues of Fall of the House of X. But at some point, they're going to have to make all this tie together. And I really have a feeling that we're going to get, and maybe you can correct this for me, because I know it has to, you're going to have to, because you're the retailer, and they're having a soft reboot or a large reboot in June or July. It just seems like there is a lot to wrap up in the next coming months. And I don't know how they're going to do it if we're continuing to get Talking Heads episodes like this. We finally get to see Moria's 7th life, which has kind of been the kind of hidden life. And I guess this is the life where she's going to decide the fate of all mutant kind. She doesn't seem to be a bad guy in this timeline. You get to see a glimpse of her at the end. But a lot of this is just Talking Heads about the people that are trapped outside in like the X womb, outside of time and space, hiding from the Enigma. And you get to fight, and there's like, it started to feel and read like, please don't, Rich will get it. It started to read like a CW plot. The reason why I say that is because, oh my God, Xavier's hiding something. Oh my God, he's hiding something from Rachel. They're hiding something from Rasputin because Doug / Sinister is working together. When the hell did they get a homunculus of Mother Righteous? When did that happen? Probably off panel. So there's certain things that they're adding into the book that is just making it much more confusing and convoluted, much more convoluted and crazy than it needs to be. Now we have this thing about maybe it's not, maybe they don't have to kill Moria. They can talk to this freedom fighter Moria that's out there. And then you got Dead X-Men talking about there's another kind of crazy ass Moria who can cut through realities and stuff with her weird ass
axe.
Zorn axe thing. There's a lot of shit going on. So what was your take on it?
I have to agree. I've been reading the X-Men for a very long time.
Yeah.
I've been through Schools, Islands. I've been through Mutant Massacres. I've been through the Legacy Virus.
Ugh.
I've been through the worst and the best of the X. And I was reading this issue going, I just want it to stop. I think the idea that Hickman came up with, this is the furthest from what I think Hickman's idea was. I miss the idea of Krakoa. I miss what they started to build, where they were using their powers together. I miss the idea that the X-Men were going to do for humanity. I do not like Orcus. Do you remember Bastion?
Yep.
I would take Bastion coming in right now over what's going on. They made Nimrod. I remember when Nimrod showed up for the first time. He was terrifying. Now they draw him like a giant teddy bear, and he's jokey, and
he's very dumb for an omniscient, sentient, AI. I don't know.
And now Enigma talking to Moira, I'm like, what? I loved Rachel coming in. I have always loved Rachel. I'm
Yeah,
glad she's done with the Prestige name. That was the stupidest name
yeah.
they ever could have gave her. I'm glad it's Mother Ascani. They're going back to when Cable. Did you read any of the Cable stuff when
Oh yeah,
Scott and Jean went back
oh
in
yeah.
time?
Slim and them. Yeah,
So I like some of the ideas that are being presented. I have loved Sinister from the beginning. I am not enjoying him now as a whatever he is, this crazy person. So Barlord says, I bailed on the Krakoa books when Hickman left. Based on what I've been hearing lately, though, I don't know that I'd be able to make heads or tails. Yes, it's true. I don't consider myself a very stupid person when it comes, but some of the ideas here are a little bit off the main X. What an
well,
X book.
I think I think what happened, and you hit the nail right on the head, right at the beginning. They took a singular idea by one writer, you know, and just threw it through a blender for the last 5 years. And at the end of it, it's too many cooks. It is too many cooks trying to fill in a story that was made, by one person.
Well, no,
And
not they're trying to end everything.
yeah, that's what I mean.
They're trying to wrap up everything.
But you don't wrap up everything by continuing to put out more books. X-Men Forever? Why? Like what?
That is
Why?
supposed well, you know why? Because that is supposed to be Immortal X-Men with a new name. And because they had to probably use the name again or they lose the trademark.
That's true.
Do you remember why we got the Order instead
You're right.
of Champions?
Yeah.
Because they let the Champions line go. So
Yep.
then it became the Order, which was a pretty good book, but it wasn't the Champions. So they had to come out with another X-Men Forever because if you remember, the last one was the Claremont written, and
Oh,
it was not even its own. It was in its own continuity.
Yeah, right.
So
Again,
since you brought
I
up,
don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Since you brought up Dead X-Men, we might as well go out of order. Dead X-Men #2 came out, and it is the story that you see in the Rise of X. Now, Rachel's Champions, her team that she picked out, which was basically literally in the Hellfire Gala, these are the X-Men that Nimrod landed on and murdered. I don't think the characters in this book are being celebrated. Dazzler is pretty much useless. She did not use her powers at all.
Once at all.
She kicked someone. Jubilee, I thought it was a rather good emotion because you got to remember Emma Frost. Her and Emma Frost she was in the school, so Emma means something to her. So seeing that world's Emma die, I loved the artist that drew the tear because I thought this might not have been her Emma, but it's pretty cool. David is getting the bulk of everything because he, as Prodigy, now is the leader, the team leader.
He's got those crystals in him that's allowing him to.
I didn't
regulate
understand
his
that at
powers.
all. Yeah. Cannonball, I feel, has been deregulated or not. What is the word
Demoted.
I'm looking for? Demoted. Yeah. This dude was a freaking Avenger. He has led teams and now he's just a Cannonball again. I don't know. And the book was not the prettiest book we read this week
No, it was
at
not.
all. 3 artists. You know how I feel about when a book needs 3 artists. This feels rushed. It feels, like Make 2 said, this book does not feel like it's an organic book. This feels like, hey, we need to make some more money off what's going on. Are they the ones that are going to be killing Moira? Or are we going to see Charles do it over in Rise?
Although, no, I think these are the people that are going to try to find a good. I think these are the ones that are going to try to stop Charles Xavier. I think that's where we're heading to. I think we're gonna find. I don't think Moria is going to die. I think that she is going to be I think the character is going to be saved in some way. There's going to be like some weird thing that happens. She's going to make an amends or an atonement, or something's going to happen. Whether that's her death or not, I don't think so. But something is going to happen
But hear me out.
with her.
Hear me out. I know you usually come up with these wild speculations. Hear me out.
Yeah.
What if they were wrong about how many lives she has? And what if her death, the one with the crazy Zorn axe, what if her death then reignites, and that is how we get the X-Men coming back with no Krakoa? And unfortunately, like you keep saying, it'll be at the damn school. What if they were wrong about how many lives she has, and when that one dies, that is the reset button that we'll get for July?
I mean, I could see it because again, but then you have to wonder, like, where does it reset from? And because we're getting a wedding between Destiny and Mystique, and it's young Destiny. So
Yeah.
so there's got to be something that's going to stay true to the timeline. I think how I believe it is this Moria who's this shaved head and has the Zorn axe. She's
With one
the
arm.
What was that?
With one arm.
She's the one that's going to go up against Enigma, and because she's the one that's trying to carve out her own fate. And I think something's going to happen, and they're going to clash, or she's going to try to kill something, because remember, she wants her happy end, and it's going to be this weird convoluted Morias versus Morias, because right now they are in Moria. They're in Moria's real Moria's past lives. They were all experiencing the clone Moria. So those don't. It's funny. Those clone ones don't count.
Right.
Which is great. I thought that was really kind of a cool, clever way to have like different alternatives with these clones. But now they're actually going back to the original Moria's lives and seeing how that's going to be affected. And now it's all going to culminate in the 7th life.
Yeah.
So I can see where they're going with the ending. I just don't know how successful it's going to be, because if they do a complete wide relaunch, I don't think they can do that. I think it has to be something else. And I don't know. I think something. I think someone is going to either backstab someone, or there has to be another twist that has to come. And
well, why not? We've already had a twist like every issue.
But I think no. But I think there's going to be like a big one that people's going to be like, oh my god, because one of the things that they're doing really well is, and this is one thing that they're getting right, and this is the homages that they're doing to other stuff and to the past. And I thought that was really cool that they are doing that. And I'm thinking, okay, with this being one of her lives where Moria kills Trask, but now it wasn't Moria that did it; it was the crazy Moria that did it. So it's weird though, because you kind of have to remember that this is one of the lives that was mentioned way back when Hickman wrote it.
Yeah,
that's one of her lives. That because in the original Powers, he listed out all of her lives and which timelines they diverged and created. So this is that one. So it's kind of cool that they're still kind of thinking about that stuff. But I don't know. It's still kind of crazy.
But we're going to talk about what Barlord just said. Yes, I can't believe I live in a world where Iron Man's in the next book and I'm freaking reading it.
But it's the last one though.
Yes. No. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe. And yes, thank you, Kenneth. I'm glad you're still here for us. So, Invincible Iron Man. I am not an Iron Man fan, but can I just tell you, I've been digging this book. I cannot believe I'm buying and reading an Iron Man book.
I at the beginning, you can go back and watch those episodes. I was not here for it. I was like, why are they together? This is bull crap. I don't like it. Ew. And now it's like, okay, I can kind of see this power couple going through. And the weird, although the one thing that did take me out of it was the weird Wolverine clone. And I thought that Tony Stark saying with the resurrection technology, they got used to leaving their dead bodies everywhere. And I thought that was hilarious.
It's true.
It is true. It's like, this is the problem. You leave dead bodies with cloning technology, you get feral, crazy Wolverine robots. It's
I know.
Like, duh.
Okay, so Jerry Duggan was the writer. Kreese Lee was the penciler, and I want to come back to that in a minute. Walden Wong was the inker. Byron Valenza was the color artist. And the cover artist that you see there is Cale New. Now, it's interesting that Kreese Lee was the artist of this because we reviewed an hour ago Fantastic Four, the giant size Fantastic Four.
Mhm.
What a difference an inker makes and the
Yep.
colorist.
I didn't realize it was the same guy.
Neither
same
did
person.
I.
I was like, wow,
Uh-huh.
so much better in this book than the last one.
I was a little shocked. Now, the summary for this book is, and it should have been, and I'll form the head. Because the whole thing that Forge made was not, and I loved the misdirection that they did for Fei Long and the leaked intel that they were going to be on the Outback.
Yeah.
It was basically for Iron Man to form a giant robot, and he formed the head.
Yeah.
Like that's basically this comic book
Sentinel
wrapped up.
Sentinel Buster.
Sentinel Buster armor.
Yep.
And I gotta be honest, I'm all here because I thought the War Machine Sentinel that Fei Long got in was really cool. It looked like a transformer. I loved it.
Yeah, this all culminating into a giant robot battle, I thought was really kind of cool.
Yes.
So I'm really excited for 16. I do think that this book will be ending at either 16 or 17, and then we'll get a new Iron Man. Will they continue the status quo of him and Emma?
No.
I really hope that they do, because I really thought that was fun. Because here you go. The one thing that came out of this that I thought was really kind of cool is having Tony Stark having to be on the Hellfire Club with Kingpin.
Yeah.
And Emma Frost. Like, the amount of stories and the weird stuff that you can get from that, fantastic. See, that it's those little nuggets that the writers put in that I just hope an editor, or someone higher up will let them continue on this way and don't restart it from the ground up. That's what they did with this Iron Man versus the last Iron Man. And the last Iron Man was great. This one, slow burn, really picked up. Yeah, Lorena, the color scheme was really fantastic. Oh, Barlord, you never know. It could be like his breakup with the Wasp. And I hope not. That's scary. But we're gonna end it on a good note. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite books, Resurrection of Magneto #2. We're probably gonna fire this off pretty quickly. We might be going a little bit longer for this episode because we do want to get to the giveaway at the end, but I do want to talk about this book. This book, wow, was really, really good. Even though it was a few talking heads and they kind of sparred a little bit. Magneto versus Storm, and having Magneto just read the credits, and then we can talk about it.
All right. Al Ewing was the writer. Luciano Vecchio, I have been a fan of his, and I've followed him on Twitter and Instagram. He is an amazing artist, and I was so happy that he got a high-profile X book like this. And yeah, I just got to say, David Curiel, Jesus Abertov were the color artists, and you could see the difference in the two.
You really could.
The art style looked a little different in the beginning and the end. The first one, David Curiel, I think really enhanced Vecchio's art big time.
Yep. It
was softer. And VC's Joe Sabino was the letterer. And that cover by another amazing artist, Stefano Caselli. Good God. Marvel has some great, great artists. And I'm glad we're ending on this book. We only have a couple minutes, but if you have ever been a fan of Magneto, and I don't know, I have a Magneto helmet that I've worn on the show a couple times. I think this was as good as his mini series that they did decades ago. Yep. This dove into him as a character like not a lot of books do.
Yep.
He was punishing himself for the people he's hurt. And by the end, Storm is like, think of the people you've helped.
Yeah. A lot
It
of
was-
self-flagellation in this.
It was beautiful. I love that they brought Sharon Friedlander in.
I mean, all the names of the plaques of the people that he remembered and he thought of, and it just showed the psyche of Magneto that like his character, you know. And again, this is that sympathetic villain that is doing it for the betterment of his people. So much so that when he died, he cannot allow himself to rest, and him lashing out at Storm and saying, like, why, you know, why are you here? Leave. This is my own, you know, this is my own, you know.
The comments are great. The cover
Yeah.
is an amazing cover.
Yes.
It
Oh,
really
and you're
is.
welcome, Make Two. We really appreciate. You said I really appreciate you explaining things because I am so lost on this. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It'll read much better as a trade when you can pick them all up and read it through. Trust me. But Resurrection of Magneto, so good. And then her, you know, using her magic or whatever in order to, you know, open up his eyes, and see the people that he's helped. Really strong. And I was hoping that you would see like Maggot's name and you'd see like other people's names, you know, of all the people that he helped, because there was a really fantastic story in which he saved Maggot, you know, in Africa. And it's
I thought that was Joseph.
No, that was him. If I remember correctly, that was him.
I thought it was Joseph.
It might be him. That's all the same memories.
But the end Shadow King?
Shadow King, yes. And that was so weird. It was Shadow King at the end. He said it, you know, you can run away, but I'll always be your shadow, or something like that. So yeah, he alluded to it being Shadow King, but that kind of Deus Ex Machina at the beginning with the witch that gave him the key to get out of hell. That was kind of like, okay, you needed a way to kind of advance the plot and you really wanted to spend a lot more time talking about, you know, Magneto, like, you know, going through the motions of this and seeing all these things that happened to him. You needed something to move the plot, and that's fine.
And that one page when Storm, he's like, what has happened? And that one page recap, just seeing everything from the top to the bottom, that is a recap for people to know what's going on in the X-Men. And I loved it.
It was one page, really great. The way that it's just I don't know, this is, and it's funny because this miniseries is not so much about what's going on currently, but I do think that there will be something that will happen once he gets back to the real 616.
Yeah.
One thing that I was kind of sad about is he had enshrined was his classic red and purple costume, and I'm wondering if he is going to don something like that when he returns. I really hope that his look gets an upgrade or something different, so that we have a return to an old Magneto. Because remember, when he was in Age of Krakoa, he wore the all white outfit, and then when he went to Mars, he turned to that kind of darkish purple one or blackish one. So I really hope that he gets a classic redesign, because he looks fantastic.
All right. So
all right. Now it's time for the giveaway. If you have not entered yet, it is hashtag experience EXP. Thanks. And on your screen right now is the cover for Spider-Boy number 3. That is a 1 in 100 Humberto Ramos cover. That's what we're giving away. XP says thank you to everyone who helped them reach the goal of having over 2,500 subscribers. Thank you
now
so
on
much.
To 5,000.
It's crazy.
We gotta do
5,000. We can do this.
Do it.
Also, just want to say, if you stick around for Meg and Mal
catch up with
us,
Mog and Mal,
they will be having a giveaway as well. So I'm gonna give it just one more quick minute. Let's see. Everybody, please, if you haven't already, put it in. Let's get going. We can see who the winner is. Let's see. It's going. I was told that we cannot win, so that sucks. Wavy's the winner! Yay! Congratulations.
I
didn't want to clap.
The cat?
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to have to run that again because Wavy did win last night, so he
Oh!
can't win again. So
Sorry, Wavy.
Super
You're
lucky,
just
Wavy.
too lucky, my friend. You're just too lucky. So we haven't, not yet. We're going to do it again. Unfortunately, Wavy cannot win. I wish we could win. Let's see. One more. Let's see who it is. Oh! BOJII777 Boise
Boise.
Boise 777. Thank you so much for doing that. I hope you filled out all the paperwork you needed so you can get your prize. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We do this because we love talking about comics and we love talking with all of you about comics. It's been a hobby for us for a very long time, and we will continue to do it as long as you all continue to show up. So thank you so much. We will see you next time here on the Geek Chat on the Experience. So, y'all have a great evening. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.